why your learning matters. When you're in the middle of learning something difficult, when you're struggling through grammar rules, or stumbling over pronunciation, or forgetting words you just studied yesterday, it's easy to lose sight of the bigger picture. You focus on the struggle. You focus on how hard it is, how slow your progress feels, how much you still don't know, and in those moments, learning can start to feel like an endless uphill climb with no clear destination. But there's something that can change all of this, something that can make the hard days easier and the frustration more bearable. It's remembering why you're learning in the first place. Your reason for learning, your why, is more powerful than you might realize. It's the fuel that keeps you going when motivation fades. It's the compass that guides you when you feel lost. Today, I want to talk about why your why matters, and how connecting with it can transform your entire learning experience. Think about why you started learning English. Really think about it. There was a moment when you made a decision, a moment when you said to yourself, I want to learn this language. What was happening in that moment? What did you hope English would give you? Maybe you wanted to travel and communicate with people around the world. Maybe you needed English for your career, for better job opportunities. Maybe you wanted to understand movies, or music, or books in their original language. Maybe you wanted to connect with someone specific, a friend, or partner, or family member who speaks English. Maybe you were simply curious, drawn to the challenge of learning something new. Whatever your reason was, it was real, it was important, it mattered enough to make you start this journey. But here's what often happens. As time goes on, as the initial excitement fades, and the daily work of learning sets in, we lose touch with that original reason. We focus on completing exercises, memorizing vocabulary, passing tests. The learning becomes about the learning itself, disconnected from the deeper purpose that inspired us to begin. And when that happens, when we forget our why, motivation becomes fragile. We start to wonder if all this effort is worth it. We start to question whether we should continue, because without a meaningful reason, the struggle feels pointless. Let me tell you about a student I once taught. His name was Ahmed. Ahmed was studying English because his company required it. He needed to pass an English test to qualify for a promotion. So, he came to class, he did his homework, he studied. But I could tell his heart wasn't in it. He was going through the motions, checking boxes. But there was no spark. His progress was slow because he wasn't truly engaged. He was learning English because he had to, not because he wanted to. And that made all the difference. One day, I asked Ahmed to stay after class. I asked him a simple question. Why are you really learning English? Not why you have to, but why you want to. Is there any part of this that matters to you personally? He looked at me, surprised by the question. He thought for a moment. Then he told me something he hadn't mentioned before. He said, "My daughter is 10 years old. She's learning English in school, and she's really good at it. She loves it. But when she tries to practice with me at home, I can't help her. I can't understand what she's saying. I can't answer her questions. I feel embarrassed that she's better at this than I am. I want to be able to talk with her in English. I want to help her. I want her to be proud of me." This was Ahmed's real why. Not the company requirement, not the promotion. Those were external motivations, things pushed onto him from outside. But connecting with his daughter, being able to support her, earning her pride, those were internal motivations, things that came from his heart. And once he recognized that, once he connected his English learning to something that truly mattered to him, everything changed. He became more engaged in class. He practiced more at home, often with his daughter helping him. His progress accelerated. And months later, when he passed that test, he told me the best part wasn't the promotion. The best part was that he could now help his daughter with her homework, and she would smile and say, "Good job, Dad." This is the power of knowing your why. When your reason for learning is connected to something you deeply care about, something that has real meaning in your life, learning stops being a chore. It becomes a bridge to something you want. Every lesson, every practice session, every small bit of progress brings you closer to that thing you care about. And that makes the difficult parts bearable. That makes the slow days worth pushing through. Because you're not just learning for the sake of learning. You're learning for a purpose. Your why doesn't have to be dramatic or extraordinary. It doesn't have to be about saving the world or achieving something incredible. It can be simple and personal. Maybe you want to watch your favorite TV show without subtitles. Maybe you want to have real conversations with a friend who speaks English. Maybe you want to feel more confident when you travel. Maybe you want to read books that aren't translated into your language. Maybe you want to understand song lyrics. Maybe you just want to prove to yourself that you can do this, that you can learn something challenging. All of these are valid reasons. All of these are meaningful. The key is that they're meaningful to you, not to anyone else. I want to share something from my own experience. When I was learning Spanish, I had periods where I felt completely stuck. I would study and feel like I wasn't getting anywhere. During one of these difficult periods, I almost gave up. I thought, maybe I'm just not good at languages. Maybe this is too hard for me. But then I remembered why I started learning Spanish in the first place. I had fallen in love with Spanish literature. I'd read translations of books by Garcia Marquez and Isabel Allende, and I was enchanted by the writing. But I knew that translations, no matter how good, always lose something. I wanted to read these authors in their original language. I wanted to experience their words the way they wrote them, with all the nuances and rhythms of Spanish. Remembering that reason changed my perspective. I wasn't just memorizing verb conjugations for no reason. I was building the ability to read the books I loved in their truest form. Every word I learned, every grammar rule I understood, was bringing me closer to that goal. And when I finally reached a level where I could read a Spanish novel and understand it, really understand it without constantly checking a dictionary, the feeling was incredible. All those hours of frustration and struggle were worth it because they led to something I truly wanted. Your why also helps you make better decisions about your learning. When you're clear on why you're learning English, you can focus on the parts that matter most for your specific goals. If you're learning English to do business, you might focus more on professional vocabulary and formal communication. If you're learning English to make friends and socialize, you might focus more on conversational skills and casual language. If you're learning English to consume media, you might focus more on listening comprehension. There's no one-size-fits-all approach to learning. Your why helps you customize your learning to fit your needs. But here's something important to understand. Your why can change, and that's okay. The reason you started learning might not be the reason you continue. Maybe you started learning English for a job, but along the way, you discovered you love English literature. Maybe you started because you needed to pass a test, but you ended up making friends in an international community. Maybe your original reason faded, but you found new reasons. That's natural. Life changes. Circumstances change. Interests change. The key is to stay connected to whatever your current why is, whatever makes English meaningful to you right now. And if you realize that you truly have no why anymore, if English learning has become something you're doing purely out of obligation or habit without any personal meaning, then it's worth asking yourself if you want to continue. I'm not saying you should quit at the first sign of difficulty, but if you've genuinely lost all connection to why this matters, if there's nothing about English that feels valuable or interesting to you, then maybe it's okay to step away and focus your energy on something that does matter to you. Life is short. You should spend your time and effort on things that have meaning for you. But most people, if they really think about it, do have a why. It might be buried under frustration or forgotten in the daily grind of studying, but it's there. And rediscovering it can reignite your motivation and give you the strength to keep going. So I want to encourage you to do something right now, or after you finish listening to this. Take a few minutes and think about your why. Ask yourself these questions. Why did I start learning English? What do I hope English will allow me to do or experience? How will my life be different or better when my English improves? What specific moment or experience am I looking forward to that requires English? Write down your answers. Be specific. Don't just say, I want to be fluent. That's too vague. Say exactly what being fluent would allow you to do. Would it let you talk to your international colleagues without feeling self-conscious? Would it let you travel independently without fear? Would it let you understand your favorite podcasts or YouTube videos? Would it let you help your children with their homework? Would it let you apply for a dream job? Would it let you connect with a part of your family or heritage? Get clear on the specific, concrete ways that English will improve your actual life. Then keep that why visible. Write it down and put it somewhere you'll see it regularly, maybe on your wall, or in your phone, or at the beginning of your study notebook. When you sit down to study or practice, take a moment to remember why you're doing this. Visualize that future moment when you'll use your English for something that matters to you. Imagine how you'll feel. Let that vision motivate you. Let it remind you that every minute you spend learning is an investment in reaching that goal. Your why is especially important during the hard times. And there will be hard times. There will be days when you feel like you're not making progress. Days when you make the same mistake for the 100th time. Days when you feel embarrassed about your level. Days when you're tired and frustrated and learning feels like too much effort. In those moments, your why is what will carry you through. It's what will help you take a breath, remember what you're working toward, and keep going for one more day. I want to tell you about one more person. Her name was Lynn. Lynn was learning English because she wanted to attend her granddaughter's high school graduation in the United States. Her son had moved to America years ago, and his daughter, Lynn's granddaughter, was graduating next year. Lynn wanted to be there, but she was terrified because she didn't speak English. She was afraid she wouldn't understand the ceremony, wouldn't be able to talk to her granddaughter's friends or teachers, would feel lost and out of place. So, at age 67, she started learning English. It was incredibly difficult for her. She struggled with pronunciation. She forgot vocabulary constantly. She felt overwhelmed by grammar. She wanted to quit many times. But whenever she felt like giving up, she would look at a photo of her granddaughter in her school uniform, and she would remember why she was doing this. She was learning so she could be present at one of the most important moments in her granddaughter's life, so she could hug her and tell her congratulations and understand what was happening around her. That reason, that clear, emotionally powerful reason, kept her going through every difficult lesson, every frustrating practice session, every moment of doubt, and when she finally attended that graduation ceremony, when she watched her granddaughter walk across the stage and understood the principal's speech and chatted with other families afterward, she cried tears of joy. Not because her English was perfect, it wasn't, but because she had done what she set out to do. Her why had carried her all the way through. So, here's what I want to leave you with today. Your learning matters because your reason for learning matters. You're not just memorizing words and rules for nothing. You're building something, you're creating possibilities, you're opening doors. Every bit of effort you put in is moving you towards something you care about, something that will make a real difference in your life. Hold on to that. Remember that. Let it guide you and motivate you and give meaning to the struggle. Because when you know why you're learning, when you're deeply connected to that purpose, you become unstoppable. Not because the learning becomes easy, but because it becomes worth it. And that makes all the difference.